Hello everyone and welcome back to Inferno. Today is going to be the day of automation. I hope, at least if everything goes according to plan. So we did manage to get the first of our tier 2 buildings, a tier 2 builder, and 2 tier 2 houses. We also started the first of a new space right underneath our colony here. Hello Wolf. You shouldn't be here. Yeah, I've been doing some work on the roof around here. I think it's looking really awesome. I love the colour in here. So we're using this mainly for storage space right now, with a bunch of drawers and just some chests. We unlocked the coke ovens from Immersive Engineering to start making coal coke and creosote oil. And towards the end of last episode, we also got into some bees. We have some vanilla bees here, and we also got ourselves the first of the productive bees, the clay bee. So where do we stand exactly with this pack? Where do we want to go next? That is the question I asked myself after I finished last episode. There is so many things to be doing. So the first project for today is to get some farms up and running. We do need to unlock the tech at the university, 64 bone meal to unlock the composter's hut. So I want to set up some crop fields to be able to farm wheat and by extension seeds, probably also carrots and potatoes, and we can use those to sustain automatic farming of cows and sheep, mainly for things like wool. As I noticed a few times in the clipboard, Kaylee is asking for a lot of these carpets to upgrade the houses, and the requirement for things like that is only going to continue. As our colony grows, we'll also need a secondary food source. We need to keep the restaurant busy making food. Our food source right now is from the fisherman's hut. I did mention last episode that I wanted the bees on the residential side, which is actually that corridor over there. I kind of built it on the wrong side of our base. And so this is on the industrial side. We're not moving bees anymore. The bees are going to be considered industrial. But we do want to have the farms probably over here to the north. Yeah, so we start off with the composter. This guy is going to turn basically any plant material into compost, and we can use the compost to make more farmland for the crop fields. And just next to the composter, we're going to have the farmhouse. But the farmhouse is separate to all of the fields. For the fields, there is a separate block we have to place. And you know what, I'm actually going to wait to place the field until we have this farmhouse built. We do have to build this manually and supply all of these materials, since we didn't get a capsule for any of these buildings. And that build is going to take some time, especially since Kaylee is still working on the last house. Oh yeah, I'm also glad I checked the quest reward. We also got this teleportation travel staff, which means we can travel to any anchor from anywhere within range. That is super awesome. But in the meantime, we do have to figure out a placement for the shepherd's hut, which we do have a capsule for, that's nice. And I'm assuming the cowhand's hut for the cows. Yeah, I'm going to figure out where to place these buildings down. Oh no, it appears that Julian has got himself sick here. He has madness and needs honey bottles plus source berries. We can actually provide this now that we have automated bees. Almost automated bees, and we did get a source berry from a mob drop, I think. Wait, is this another citizen with madness? The other Julian? Maybe we should expedite this hospital build process. Yeah, you know what, I think that's exactly what we're gonna do. Fortunately, the quest book does give us a capsule here. I had some issues placing all of the farms over there. Let's finalize this build. Yeah, so we had some troubles here placing the cowhand's hut. Basically, it's outside of our colony. Oh, wait a second, the hospital is also outside the colony. Oh no. It's like right on the edge here. To grow your borders, you have to place buildings on the edge, and that will basically claim one chunk all the way around it. However, we might actually be okay here because this guard tower is not built yet, it's not finalized. Once the builders eventually get round to finalizing that should give us the next chunk over. They should then be able to place the hospital, and then once the hospital is built, this chunk here should be claimed, and we should be able to place the cowhand's hut. And also that extra guard tower over there. This is also not finalized. We did, however, manage to get the shepherd's hut here. There is no workers available for that yet, though. And that's actually not a good sign, because that means we don't have any workers for the cowhand's hut either. Or the farms, because that is also not built here. So things are pretty slow here at the colony. It does take a while for all of this stuff. To try to help with the citizen problem, I also upgraded one more house to tier 2. It looks like it's not quite finished yet. And I also added one more tier 1 house on the end. It's quite hard to show the changes, but this is basically the current state of the colony. Oh yeah, and the madness. I don't know exactly if the hospital can just clear it without items, or if we have to actually supply source berries. If we have to supply source berries, we're kind of in trouble, because we cannot make those right now. Well, since the situation is we're basically waiting on the builders, we are going to march onwards with some more progression. And the first step is to get some honey from these bees. Wow, these clay bees have been extremely busy here. That is awesome to see. What we're after here is the liquid honey. We should be able to pick it up with a bucket, right? Yes. So what we're going to be doing here is diving into the druidic arts and checking out the Nature's Aura mod. You may remember this came up last episode, and this is actually what's gating us from getting villagers. And with the villagers, it means we can get a bunch of other quality of life upgrades. So what we want to do here is pour honey over golden string. It should give us some type of fiber. Brilliant fiber. Next we have to grow some oak trees and infest the leaves with the brilliant fiber. Breaking the leaves gives us the gold leaf and also unlocks the Nature's Aura quest in our quest book. Only 4 quests, I imagine some are hidden. Okay, so the next step is to get gold powder, just a shapeless craft, easy enough. And I think this is where the rituals begin. Yeah, we need wooden stands. We're going to be performing the ritual of the forest. Oh, hold on, willow slabs, it has to specifically be willow wood. And rubber wood, I don't think we have either of these, right? Of course not. This should work though, oak sapling and coagulated blood should give us the rubber tree. Rubber wood sapling. We do actually have a few spare bonsai pots, I think we'll use these. We need an axe for them though. I hope we have a spare one here. Yeah, and a hopper is also necessary. Oh, by the way, these are not going to stay here long term. I do have a plan for these. We are yet to implement though. There's just way too much to do, honestly, but that gives us the rubber wood. The willow wood, on the other hand, actually requires us to have a drying rack. And we have to dry sage. I think we have sage seeds here somewhere. Oh, I already have them planted here. I forgot about this. So we dry off the sage. I hope time in a bottle works here. And this also goes through arcane ashes with the oak sapling. Willow wood. It's also necessary for us to place glowstone over warped fungus. We have an abundance of both of these resources, so I think we should be able to set up our altar once we do so. So this mod is something we have to be a bit careful with. Inside the mod there is something called aura, conceptually. All of the rituals and crafting will drain aura. If we craft too many times and use up all of the aura, then it does give some bad effects. I think some of which can actually affect our citizens as well in the colony. We can view the aura using this ritual here. It should give us some sort of eye. Yeah, we grow the tree, it starts the ritual. Aha, we got it. You can see up in the top left there, this trinket displays the amount of aura in the area. You have no idea how many times I tried to say that sentence. Aura in the area. Anyways, our next quest is to collect some bald ghosts. Oh yeah, this did unlock the quest here. Yeah, some of the effects if we get an aura imbalance, neutral mobs can become hostile, it can become impossible to breathe, ores may replace with stone or netherrack, so yeah, we definitely want to avoid this, especially around our citizens up there. There is some things we can do to prevent these effects though. But first we need a token of joy. Oh, this is going to be tedious. Okay, once we grow the tree, this should be our token of joy. There we go. And we can use the token to craft the natural altar. It's doing its thing. I love these particles, by the way. That looks so awesome. Aha, the natural altar. This ingot over here may look familiar. This is what we were actually missing to summon the zombie villagers. But as I understand it, this thing does take more aura to run. So we're going to need to build out a location for Nature's Aura. And also set up this altar, which does have a multi-block structure around it, I believe. I have no idea how we're going to fit stone brick into our build. So with a loose idea in mind, I began working on creating some space for Nature's Aura. This is going to go on the south side of our colony. And as it turns out, since we're in the nether, the natural altar becomes the crimson altar. It's actually a very similar structure, only it's built with red nether bricks and crimson planks. I tried to tie it in as much as I could with our existing theme around the base, and it actually did take me a while to figure out how this was going to come together. But after some trial and error, I think I'm actually quite happy with the results. I don't think these spiders were though. We did get another portal spawn. Once we had both of the rituals in place, it was time to start thinking about some aura generation. Normally in Nature's Aura, you can generate aura using ancient trees, but it was only after crafting the sapling that I realised it doesn't work outside of the overworld. So we were going to have to come up with another solution. As it turns out, there's something called an offshoot observer. This thing will detect whenever slimes or magma cubes split into smaller versions of themselves. And whenever that happens, it creates a small amount of aura which will be dispersed into the environment. All we need to do is figure out a way to spawn and split magma cubes. First of all though, I wanted to craft the offshoot observer, which means we were going to need some slimes. I wanted to use the Tinker Smeltery to guarantee slime drops, but these guys were just not cooperating at all. Anyways, we eventually managed to get enough in there and get our slime balls. Then we were just missing one more craft from the Ritual of the Forest. And the final component is crafted in the Crimson Altar. I completed the multi-block structure and that begins to collect aura from the area. We give it rose gold and pig iron and it converts it into various different ingots. And that allows us to craft the offshoot observer. So now to spawn the magma cubes, we were going to need a soul cage. I ended up crafting another eternal water bucket. This we can later repurpose, but I used it right now just to get some more easy obsidian inside the smeltery. Obsidian over some dark gems gives us soul shards. And rose gold plus vile dust gives us the corrupted ingot, which allows us to craft our spawner. So now I believe the way that these work is we have to fill up this soul shard by killing magma cubes. And apparently that is most efficient with the Vile Sword, which we have crafted. I do remember that this bastion contains a magma cube spawner, which we can probably use to our advantage. That is a lot of bloodstains here. Hello, Piglin. That wasn't very smart. Oh, there's another one. Oh, that did bind our soul shard, but I think we can clear it with a shapeless craft. Yeah. So you might be wondering why we don't just take the spawner down there. Well, we cannot break spawners in this pack. The developers have disabled that feature, so we can't get an apotheosis spawner. We should definitely still be careful here though. Yeah, there's the spawner right there. Just to confirm, I don't think we can break this, right? No, we can't break it. Slaying the magma cube should have bound it here, which it did. You can see we're at 2 souls. At certain thresholds, it should increase its tier, and allows to spawn more of these mobs at once. I think it also changes up some modifiers, like ignoring light levels. Oh, there's a chest we missed here. Garbage. I'll take the netherite though, I guess. Alright, let me level up this soul shard a bit. Alright, so we've got a little over 200 souls collected. Giving this to the soul cage should spawn some magma cubes here. Let's put down this observer somewhere. This might be a bit too powerful. I'm actually not so sure. Oh, and they do spawn infernal, I guess. That might actually be an issue. It might be a very big issue. You know, I didn't think about this. We may end up with too many. Okay, we need to stop this, like right now. Run! Maybe we should go with some other sort of aura generation. How are we going to deal with all these? Oh my goodness, gilded netherite chestplate? This is a tier 3 armor, I'm sure. We need at least a tier 3 blacksmith before we can even craft this thing. Alright, you know what? We're going to save this for another day. I put all this work into building this forge out on Nature's Aura, and I don't actually think there's much use for it, to be honest, long term. But the bigger problem we have is I don't actually know how to automatically farm magma cubes. I was thinking maybe iron golems, but since they spawn as infernal mobs, or at least some of them do, it's possible for the infernal mobs to actually drop lingering potions, and if one of the potions is poison, that's not going to end very well for iron golems. We don't have anything like mob grinding utilities, so there's no spikes or anything. The Evilcraft spikes are disabled. We don't quite have access to blood magic rituals yet, and we also haven't unlocked Ars Nouveau, which basically leaves a Tinker Smeltery, and I don't really want to automate it with the Tinker Smeltery. That's kind of lame. Maybe I'm missing something. We don't have frogs in this version. This is 118. If you guys have any other suggestions, then let me know. But it's been a few hours since we placed our mine colonies buildings here, right? And I was reading a bit that we actually need to give the shepherds some sheep to work with, and apparently some wheat as well. I didn't actually think about the fact that it wouldn't actually spawn sheep automatically. I think we just need at least 2. Oh, he's already slaying one of them. Hey, where are you going? Oh, they're also going to escape. That's a bit of a problem. You know what? We can actually keep them in place, hopefully with the interdiction torch. This should prevent any mob from passing this point here, and they'll be pushed against that back fence, which is okay because it means that Evelyn can get in the cage here and shear them, but the sheep shouldn't ever be able to get out of here. You may notice here I also placed down the farm. The other restriction is we can only farm one type of crop. However, this minion here is going to request fertilizer as well. I don't think that's a necessary step. So actually in the farmhouse building, we can turn off the request for fertilizer and just rely on the fact that the wheat will grow naturally. Since right now we don't actually have a source of fertilizer, it seems that the field has been recognised here 17 meters west, which seems to be about right. So since Minion Mech is farming wheat for us, we also want to send that over to the shepherd here. There's an option in the shepherd's hut for minimum stock. So this will mean that it will try to request and keep at least 1 stack of wheat here at all times. And that should give Evelyn enough stock to be able to breed the sheep together. And there's also it looks like an option here for dyeing and shearing. The only thing is I don't know what happens to the items in her inventory. She has wheat and... oh, she just deposited them. Ah, it looks like it went into the shepherd's hut, so it must be waiting on the courier now to come and pick them up. I assume that's the case, or maybe we have to keep a minimum stock in the warehouse building. I don't know if the courier will automatically pick that up or not. The specifics behind mine colonies I'm actually not any expert on, so we're just kind of experimenting here to see what works. I also noticed that there was a tech here to avoid the farmers trampling crops. Yeah, soft shoes. We need 16 feathers. Oh, we only have 8, I think. We have 9. That's not enough. And also just a minute ago, the cowhand's hut finished here, which is similar to the shepherd, I assume. There is also the option to breed, feed, and it looks like milk the cows as well. I assume that means we have to give them buckets though, which is not something that we can probably do at this point. Let's at least give the cowhand some cows to work with though. I guess we'll also need another torch for this place, so they don't run away. There also seems to be a lot of mobs here. It looks like to craft the other torch, we need something called dubious dust, which can only be made in a level 2 to 5 enchanter. We also need this dust for the boss fight to upgrade our university. So over here at the enchanter, let's actually mark this for an upgrade. I assume we can collect all of these items. Maybe spruce wood, I don't know if we have a spruce sapling yet. The hospital also looks like it does require us to provide honey and source berries. Yeah, our colony right now is actually not very efficient. In fact, it's absolutely terrible. What we need to do is actually unlock the next tier of university. But as we saw last episode, that requires the boss fight, and there ain't no way we're doing that right now. So I mentioned this was going to be the episode of automation if things went to plan. That does not appear to be the case though. There are still too many technologies which are currently locked for us, which really restricts our ability to actually do anything here. So for a while it's basically just going to be crafting a lot of these magical components to start unlocking some of these mods. And what I want to start with is Ars Nouveau. It's going to make us more powerful for the boss fight, and hopefully means we can unlock some more spells. Alright, so as it turns out, to get into Ars Nouveau we have to actually start occultism. We need an Otherworld sapling. I think once we eat Demon's Dream fruit, it should turn it into Otherwood. Which it did, perfect. Toss this through the fire, and this gives us Otherworld ashes. One more Dark Power gem, and funnily enough we actually have to use Nature's Aura here. This mod pack is so twisted up, I love it. It does make it very difficult to actually try to plan out an episode though. Yeah, so Dark Power gem, Growth Reagent, 3 source berries. We are down to our last 2, so hopefully we can make more after we do this. Otherworld ashes. And you remember that ancient sapling that doesn't work for generating aura? Let's just call that calculated. I totally meant to do that. Any second now, we got our archwood. We have to harvest this tree a few times, and if I remember correctly, this is quite a bulky tree. So I think what we're going to do is actually swap out this rubberwood bonsai, and we can just give it some time in a bottle. Oh yeah, look at that. That's awesome. Next up, we have to make the imbuement chamber, which is a crafting mechanic inside Ars Nouveau, and I believe also the scribe's table, which is going to allow us to craft some more spells. Yeah, more tables to add to our collection. The imbuement chamber here can actually turn lapis into source gems. So we have to look at a way of source generation. I know, we just took care of aura generation, now we need source. I think probably our best option is to go for the Argonomic source link, which will generate source from nearby crop and tree growth. We do have our automatic farms here, but I don't really want to place a source jar up here. It kind of feels a bit out of place. And besides, farming wheat is actually not the most efficient way to generate source. It's actually much more efficient if we use something like Mage Bloom. So I'm thinking that we actually start an Ars Nouveau area over here. Yeah, I do like that idea. We'll have tech over this way. And I think we'll also find a way to put occultism over here as well, next to Ars Nouveau. So I guess I've got some more digging to do for now. Let's do this. So the good news is that we have an Ars Nouveau area built here. The bad news is that we cannot finish it off. We have been gated once again by this pack. So the thing is that for the quest we need an enchanting apparatus, and for this we need a diamond. Diamonds, we do not have access to right now. The ores can only come from occultism mining. The bees we can't really produce right now. And the sifter has to be at least level 3. We don't even have level 2 yet. Where there's a will, there's a way though. And I think I might just have found the way. Assuming we have a piece of netherite gear in here somewhere. Yeah, a netherite shovel. This is going to do perfectly. The shovel here, if we melt it in the smeltery, it's going to give us 1 ingot of netherite. However, if we melt it in the foundry, it should give us 1 netherite and 1 diamond. And we can pour out the diamond into a gem cast. There we have it. Now we can craft the enchanting apparatus, and we'll need an arcane core. So I left some space over here for the enchanting setup. I believe the arcane core goes on the bottom with the enchanting apparatus above. So the first thing we'll want to craft is a Dominion wand. Oh, it actually works. Wait a second, don't we need source for this? Is it going to finish? Okay, I'm not going to complain at that. Next thing we want to make is a bookworm. So 4 source gems, 4 iron, and a book in the middle. Next up, we do need a few more source gems. I'm hoping we have some more lapis in here. Perfect. So this bookworm charm is actually going to spawn us a little friendly minion. And we're going to use the minion to actually farm some crops over there. Specifically the mage bloom that I talked about, which I think is the most efficient thing to farm. Either that or archwood will give you the most source from its growth. Alright, so the way this is going to work here is we're going to have a lectern and some sort of inventory behind this. This will probably switch with an ender chest, or maybe we entangle this block somehow. Anyway, so we want to summon our bookworm to this lectern. That looks really awesome with the shaders on, look at that. And this little guy is going to do the farming for us, but we need to specify the spell that we want him to cast. And to do that, we're going to need some glyphs. So we need our spell book out here, and this is where the scribe's table comes into play. So the first thing we want to create is the harvest spell. For this, we need earth essence and an iron hoe. We don't have earth essence actually, we need to craft this, but this is made also in the imbuement chamber. So we can place some pedestals around this. This craft does claim to use some source, so I'm not sure it's going to finish here. Maybe we just give it some time in a bottle. Oh, it did finish, and it automatically went onto the scribe's table. Okay, so now we're just missing the iron hoe. And it's going to make our glyph for us. And then to learn it, I think we just shift right click. And that unlocks the spell in our spellbook. We also want the pickup glyph. And also a spell parchment. Aha, so now that we have those available, we can come into our spellbook and make a touch, harvest, and item pickup spell. Oops, harvest, item pickup. And actually this blank parchment needs to be the spell parchment, like this. And then if we give this to the scribe's table, and I think it's shift right click the spellbook while it's selected, you can see now the spell parchment has touch, harvest, item pickup, and that's, if we give this to the bookworm, that's exactly what he's going to cast, hopefully. Using the Dominion wand can change the spell area. I think we'll just keep it at 5x5 for now. We need to craft a few more, in fact a lot more of these mage bloom seeds. However, if we fully grow this ourselves... Oh, that was instant. I think we missed it there, yeah, that was instant. Yep, and he should have put it in this chest. Perfect, perfect. And you can see here we have the agronomic source link, which will basically collect source every time something grows around it. That deposits the source into the source jar. And we also have a mycelial source link. The mycelial source link will consume any food item, and that will also convert into source and place it in the source jar here. For this though, I'm thinking that we also farm source berries, since we need the source berries for the hospital. We could probably use another bookworm, however I really would like to use a starbuncle. To make this though, we do need a starbuncle shard, and this is loot only. It's mob drop only right now. Please, please give it a crafting recipe. I'm probably going to hunt some mobs after this episode, but I think we're actually going to wrap up the episode here. I don't have a ton of time left today, unfortunately, and I want to also just mention the next episode will be a bit delayed. I had some things come up, which means that I can't actually record as much. It's going to take up quite a bit of my time. But yeah, with the unlock of Ars Nouveau, we should be able to craft higher tier spells. And this actually also unlocks the spell turrets, which we can maybe use for mob farming. We can also use the source that we're generating here to also make use of the Ars Nouveau rituals, which have some really, really cool effects, most of which I've actually never played with before, so that's going to be fun to mess around with. Anyways, that is going to do us for today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next episode.